You saved up for a Hublot, or you know someone who did. It looked right, it felt right, and it cost enough to actually mean something. Then you wore it somewhere that mattered, and the person whose opinion you wanted most looked at it and said nothing. Not nothing polite, nothing that meant something. That silence has a name in the watch world. It is not about the price, it is not about the quality. Hublot is a $2 billion brand that has spent 2 decades trying to fix that moment. It has not fixed it. This is why. Here is the central paradox of Hublot's entire existence. The more it spent to make itself desirable, the less desirable it became to the people it most wanted to reach. $2 billion in marketing, sponsorships, celebrity partnerships, Formula One, boxing, FIFA World Cup, all of it made Hublot one of the most recognized watch brands on the planet. And recognition, it turned out, was exactly the wrong thing to have in the world of serious watch collecting. Jean-Claude Biver understood what a watch means at this level of the market better than almost anyone alive. Not what it tells you, what it tells others about you. In 1980, when he took over Blancpain, a Swiss brand that had stopped production entirely, he built it back up on the idea that rarity was worth more than visibility. The watch world ran on discretion. Patek Philippe did not advertise on billboards. Audemar's Piguet did not pay athletes to wear its watches. You learned about these brands the way you learned about a good restaurant with no sign on the door. Someone who knew told someone who needed to know. That was the system. It had worked for centuries. Then in 2004, Biver did something that made him a legend in the industry and began an argument that has never fully been resolved. He took over Hublot. Hublot had been founded in 1980 by Carlo Crocco, a Swiss watchmaker who did something nobody in the industry had done before. He put a rubber strap on a gold watch. Not leather, not metal, rubber. The kind of material you found on a wetsuit or a bicycle tire. The Swiss watch world considered this somewhere between a joke and a scandal. You did not put rubber on gold. Switzerland did not do that. Crocco did it anyway, and the people who bought it were exactly the kind of people the rest of the industry had not been paying attention to. Wealthy buyers who wanted to wear their watch to the beach, to the gym, to a boat without worrying about it. A small, loyal audience, but a real one. When Biver arrived, Hublot was niche, respected in certain circles, essentially invisible to the mainstream luxury market. Biver decided to change that. He had a concept he called fusion, the idea that Hublot would combine unexpected materials in unexpected ways, rubber and gold, ceramic and titanium, carbon fiber and diamonds. Not the way the traditional houses refined and perfected one approach over generations. The way a designer thinks. What happens if you put these two things together? Sit with what that meant for the watch world. The traditional Swiss houses had spent centuries building their identities around the idea that their way was the only way. A mechanical movement that took 6 months to assemble by hand. A case that took a craftsman weeks to finish. The value was in what you could not see. The painstaking work inside the thing, not the material on the outside. Hublot was saying something different. It was saying the outside mattered too. That what a watch looked like, felt like, communicated to a room when you walked into it, that was part of what you were paying for. That argument resonated with a new category of buyer that the traditional houses had been largely ignoring. Athletes, entertainers, people who had made enormous amounts of money in their own generation rather than inherited it. People who wanted something that announced itself rather than something that required knowledge to appreciate. Biver went directly after this market. He signed Pelé as a brand ambassador. He put Hublot at the FIFA World Cup. He put it in Formula One. He made sure that the watch was on the most photographed wrists in the world. The strategy worked exactly as planned. In the years after Biver arrived, Hublot's sales multiplied. The brand became genuinely international in a way it had never been. In 2008, LVMH, the luxury conglomerate that owns Louis Vuitton and Moet and dozens of other brands, acquired Hublot for somewhere around $400 million. That acquisition, which might have seemed like the ultimate validation, was actually the moment the paradox became permanent. Here is what happens when a luxury brand gets acquired by LVMH. The brand does not change immediately. The craftsmanship does not decline. The designs continue in the same direction. What changes is the perception. LVMH is not a secret. LVMH is the most commercially successful luxury company on Earth. And the most commercially successful company on Earth is, by definition, not rare. The serious collectors who had been cautiously watching Hublot, who might have been open to it as an interesting new voice in the industry, now saw it as part of a portfolio. Not a house, a brand. There is a difference. Houses have legacies and families and centuries. Brands have marketing budgets and quarterly targets. Once that distinction was made, it was very hard to unmake. Meanwhile, Hublot kept doing what it did. Limited editions, celebrity collaborations, watches branded with the logos of football clubs and motorsport teams and boxing organizations. Each one generated press, each one sold to the audience that was buying Hublot, and each one widened the distance between Hublot and the world of serious collecting. Because here is what serious collectors actually collect: a Patek Philippe perpetual calendar with a minute repeater, and Audemars Piguet Royal Oak from the first generation in 1972, a Vacheron Constantin reference from the 1950s that almost nobody alive knows exists. Not just expensive, scarce in a way that cannot be manufactured. You cannot make a limited edition of something that was already rare. You can only create exclusivity through time and through the genuine difficulty of making something that almost nobody can make. Hublot's best movements are genuinely impressive. The brand has produced in-house calibers of real complexity. It has done things with materials that no other house had done. But the movements are not what collectors are talking about when they pass on Hublot. They are talking about something harder to quantify. They are talking about the signal a watch sends when you are the only person in the room who knows what it is. You cannot have that signal if the watch has been on the wrist of 100 different celebrities and appeared in 10,000 press photos and been advertised in every airport between here and Dubai. The collector who owns a Patek does not usually tell you what it is. They do not need to. The people who matter already know. The watch communicates to exactly the audience it was made for, and to nobody else. That is the point. That has always been the point. The luxury watch world is, at its highest level, a language spoken between people who learned it from someone who already knew. Hublot, for all its quality, decided to learn that language by shouting it. The watch that crystallizes all of this is the Big Bang, the model Biver launched in 2005 that became Hublot's signature piece. Technically, it is a remarkable object, a 44mm case in a material sandwich that no traditional manufacturer would have attempted. Ceramic bezel, titanium case, rubber strap, sapphire crystal, in-house movement in many configurations. It won awards. It got written about. It sold in numbers that made the industry pay attention. And it became, over time, the single image that serious collectors most associate with Hublot, which is to say, the single image that closes the door. Because what the Big Bang communicated to the collector world was not complexity. It communicated loudness. A 44mm case in 2005 was a statement. It was saying, I am here, I am new, I do not care about your old rules. That message resonated with exactly the buyers who were ready to hear it. Those buyers exist. They are real. They have real money, and they have real taste. But they are not the buyers who set the ceiling on what a brand can ultimately be worth. That ceiling is set by the people who have been collecting for 30 years and could buy anything. And those people heard a different message from the Big Bang. They heard, this watch is for the room, not for the movement. There is something worth understanding about why this matters beyond the world of expensive watches. Hublot's situation is a precise and unusually visible example of something that happens across every category of luxury. There is a ceiling to what marketing can achieve, and in categories where the value is rooted in exclusivity, marketing has a way of working directly against itself. Every press release that generates coverage, every celebrity that posts a photo, every sponsored event that gets Hublot's name in front of a new audience. Each of those things is doing its job, and each of those things is making the product incrementally less valuable to the audience that defines what the product is worth at the top of the market. Biver knew this. He had built Blancpain on exactly the opposite principle. He understood the difference between growing a brand and growing the right audience. What happened at Hublot is not that he forgot this lesson. What happened is that LVMH's incentives and the collector world's values point in opposite directions. And there is no version of the Hublot story where both of those things end up happy. The brand is not in trouble. Hublot sells hundreds of millions of dollars worth of watches every year. Its buyers are not being deceived. They are getting exactly what they are paying for: a well-made, technically impressive, visually striking watch from a brand with genuine history and real craft behind it. The silence from the serious collectors is not a verdict on the object. It is a verdict on the story. And in the watch world, the story is almost everything. The name on the dial says Hublot. What it does not say, what it cannot say is, almost nobody owns this. And in the world where that matters most, that is the only sentence that counts.